Hey there, have you ever wanted to be insanely strong? To be able to stand in just about anything and melt everything in your path? Well, that time has come. I'm Iffy, and today we're going to be going over the ultimate solo stamina Dragonknight. The Dragonknight has gone through so many changes, but one thing remains true. It is incredibly tanky, having so much mitigation built into it, and it's fantastic for solo sustain with things like the combustion, helping hands, and battle roar passives. I've taken this thing through all solo content in the game and some extra stuff and just decimated everything, as you can see me just abusing bosses in this background footage. This build has the ability to be so incredibly tanky while maintaining damage so high, mechanics are not a thing. So without further ado, let's get into it. In this video we're going to be going over everything. Race, Mundas, consumables, attributes, gear, skills, champion points, and at the end, some quick tips on how to get the most out of this build in particular. Starting with race. The best race you can be for a solo build is a Khajiit. Khajiit's built-in recovery and crit damage is so well balanced for solo content. If you're feeling confident, you can go with more damage by choosing Dark Elf. Dark Elf's ability to draw from both mag and stamina make it an incredible choice for max resource pools and damage output. Other notable race options are Orc, Wood Elf, and Redguard. Honestly, now more than ever, race plays such a little part in building and only really matters when min-maxing in endgame. So now you can choose whatever appeals to you. To prove this, the footage of me in the background absolutely destroying these bosses is actually a Nord. For our Mundas, we're going to be going with the Thief. This will increase our critical chance. Onto consumables. The food that we're going to go with is Jewels of Mizral. An easy to obtain recipe or pretty cheap to buy, this food will increase our stamina and magical recovery and max health for 2 hours. Pairing with our jewels, we will opt in for Essence of Weapon Power Potions. After lots of testing and trying to find a nice balance of raw damage output without making sustain too difficult to pull off, I found these to be the best combinations. Other notable foods to run are Lava Foot for sustain, Dubious Cameron Throne for sustain with a little bit of health, or our team's Takeaway Broth, which has both health recovery, and stam recovery. For our attributes, we're going to stack all 64 into stamina. For gear, we're going to go with Aegis Caller on the body. This drops from the Unhallowed Grave dungeon. This set buffs our weapon and spell damage, stamina recovery, and the 5-piece gives us a chance once every 12 seconds when doing critical damage with a martial melee attack to summon a lesser Aegis for 11 seconds. After 2.5 seconds, the lesser Aegis spins its blades, dealing bleed damage every second. This set has great uptimes and is super easy to proc, as well as providing incredible AoE and single target damage. For our monster set, we're going to run Stormfist. This set drops in Veteran Tempest Island, and the shoulder can be grabbed from a coffer from Glirion at the Undaunted Enclave. Stormfist's 1-piece bonus gives us stamina recovery. For the 2-piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemy, dealing 1408 shock damage every second for 3 seconds to all enemies within 4 meters, and a final 14,611 physical damage when the fist closes, once every 8 seconds. Again, this monster set is fantastic for single target and AoE damage. I recommend doing one piece of Stormfist medium and the other light. This is to help with our penetration and our critical chance. On all of our body pieces, we'll want all divines and max stamina enchantments. Moving on to our jewelry and our second set, Pillar of Nirn. Dropping from the Folkreath Hold dungeon, this set gives us max stamina, critical chance, weapon and spell damage, and when we deal damage, you create a fissure underneath the enemy after 1 second, dealing bleed damage to all enemies within 2.5 meters, and causing them to bleed for an additional 17,325 bleed damage. This can happen every 10 seconds, giving us fantastic uptimes and great single target damage with a little AoE as well. Our jewelry will be bloodthirsty, with weapon damage enchantments across all 3 pieces. We'll be pairing our jewelry with 2 daggers on our front bar. In our main hand, we'll be Nirnhoned with a poison damage enchantment, and offhand charged with a flame damage enchantment. This will complete our Pillar of Nirn set, allowing us to get the full 5 pieces every time we're on the front bar. On our back bar, there are choices. For this build, I wanted to bring bow back again. I'm a huge fan of the bow, so we're going to run the Maelstrom's bow. It's important to note you do not need the perfected version. We'll be using the Endless Hail Morpher Volley to proc this, and we'll have the Infuse trait with the weapon damage glyph. Know that you can run anything on the back bar at the moment. You can go two-hand if you want, dual wield, staff, the choice is yours. I went with bow for something fun and it made it feel like a stamina build. With gear done, that brings us to skills. On our front bar, we'll be starting with Deadly Cloak. This skill gives us great AoE and major evasion, allowing us to take less damage while we're standing in AoEs while it's active. Barb Trap will be granting us minor force, increasing our crit damage. Molten Whip, our spam ball, uses both magicka and stamina and has a unique 3-stack effect. Whenever you cast a different Ardent Flame ability, you gain a stack of Seething Fury, increasing the damage of your next Molten Whip by 20% and your weapon and spell damage by 100 for 15 seconds. Venomous Claw is a powerful single target dot that ramps up dramatically over time, and Flames of Oblivion is an easy AoE that will launch a fireball every 5 seconds. And our front bar ultimate will be Flawless Stormbreaker. This is there for 2 reasons. First and foremost, like Trap, the passive ability Slayer adds 3% weapon and spell damage for each fighter skilled ability that is slotted. 2, if you're in an issue where you might be struggling for resources, the Battle Roar passive in the Earthen Heart tree gives us huge amounts of resources based off ultimate spent, allowing us to pop this one for cheap and get some resources back. On our back bar, we'll have Endless Hail. We'll be casting this to proc our bow and its enchantment. Hardened Armor for a wonderful shield, as well as Major Resolve, which increases our physical and spell resistance by 5,948 for 20 seconds. And this will activate the Burning Heart passive in the Draconic Power tree, giving us 12% healing received while it's active. Noxious Breath for a nice conal AoE, but most importantly, this gives our enemies Major Breach, which reduces their physical and spell resistance by 5,948. Sin and Storm is a very nice heal over time, and granting us access to more of those Earthen Heart passives such as Mountain's Blessing with Minor Brutality, increasing weapon and spell damage, and generating ultimate in combat. Resolving Vigor, the tried and true burst heal, and our ultimate of choice, Standard of Might, our go-to ultimate whenever we can afford it. This applies to Defile, and while standing in the area, increases our damage done and reduces the damage we take by 15%. Your flex skill is Hardened Armor. If you feel like you don't need it, or maybe you're in a group, you can replace it with something else if you wish. It's the combinations of these skills and passives that make it such a powerful setup. On to champion points. In the blue tree, we're going to take Wrathful Strikes, Master at Arms, Thaumaturge, and Fighting Finesse. And for our red tree, we're going to take Balanced Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, and Slippery. The fourth you can swap out for something else if you feel you don't need Slippery. To get the most out of this build, the tips would be: when opening combat, cast Flames of Oblivion 3 times to get the Seething Fury proc, lay down all your dots and then hit your whip. If you're struggling for sustain, hit your ult as soon as you get it. If you're struggling for stam, you can cast Cinderstorm over and over, and the Helping Hands passive from the Earthen Heart tree will actually give you back some free stam. And remember to cast Hardened Armor before you heal to get that 12% bonus. And that wraps it all up. This build was extremely fun to make. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to see me make these live, stop by my Twitch at twitch.tv/officiallyiffy. And let me know in the comments, what build do you want to see next? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.